Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got a story that literally plays out like a top-tier manga arc. We are talking high stakes, a massive plot twist, and a major underdog facing down the most powerful bosses in town after the absolute craziest day of his life. We're going to break down this ancient text, capture all the action, the drama, and uncover the ultimate twist. Let's get right into it. Okay, imagine this for a second. You finally get the one thing you've been waiting for your entire life. You are hyped, right? You're completely changed and ready to celebrate. But instead of throwing a party, all the adults in the room, the leaders of your community, totally turn against you. They don't celebrate your win at all. They actually treat you like a massive threat. Well, that is exactly the setup for our explainer today. Section 1. The Miracle in the Mud. So, our story kicks off with a guy who has been blind since birth. He is totally used to just surviving in the shadows as a beggar on the dusty streets. Then Jesus and his crew walk by, and the disciples, they immediately jump to the worst conclusions. In their minds, if you're struggling this hard, you or your parents must have messed up big time. They honestly look at this guy's entire life as some kind of dark, tragic penalty or a terrible curse. But Jesus completely flips the script. He shuts down that toxic theory right away, telling them it's not about punishment at all. He says this happened so the power of God could be seen in him. It's that classic turning point in a story where you realize the main character's biggest weakness is actually setting the stage for an explosive, undeniable display of power. And you guys, the how of this healing is absolutely wild. It is not some clean, magical zap. Jesus goes for the grittiest, most unexpected method possible. He literally spits in the dirt, makes mud, smears it right onto the guy's blind eyes, and tells him to go wash in the pool of Siloam. The guy does it, and boom, he comes back seeing everything in vivid, high-definition color. But this one incredible, life-changing moment, it sets off a chain reaction that is absolutely going to shake the whole town. Section 2. The Neighborhood Rumor Mill. Now, you'd think everyone would be high-fiving the guy, right? Nope. The neighborhood just absolutely loses its mind. The streets descend into pure chaos. People are literally arguing over his identity, totally panicking. Is that him? No way, it's just a clone or a guy who looks like him. They're acting like they're staring at a shapeshifter. Meanwhile, our beggar is standing right there, waving his hands, yelling, "Guys, it's me! I am the exact same person!" So the crowd starts demanding answers. They want to know where this miracle worker is. But to make the mystery even deeper, the beggar has no idea. The hero who performed the miracle, Jesus, has completely vanished into the background. It is the classic disappearing hero trope, leaving our newly sighted underdog totally alone to face this bewildered mob. Section 3. Facing the Pharisees. These confused neighbors end up dragging the healed man to the ultimate authority figures in town, the strict religious leaders known as the Pharisees. And spoiler alert, they are immediately triggered. Why? Because it all comes down to the Sabbath. It was a super sacred day of rest, and the Pharisees had insanely strict rules. To them, making mud and healing someone wasn't a beautiful miracle, it was considered illegal work. Because Jesus did this on a Saturday, they treat the whole thing like a massive, severe crime. The religious leaders are actually so deep in denial that they refuse to even believe the guy was ever blind to begin with. So they pull his parents in for a really intense interrogation. And the parents are absolutely terrified. I mean, the Pharisees had already threatened to essentially cancel anyone, kicking them out of the synagogue and completely exiling them from their social life if they supported Jesus. The stakes are so crazy high that the man's own parents totally throw him under the bus. They confirm he's their son, sure, but then they instantly back away. "We don't know anything else. Ask him. He is old enough to speak for himself." They completely tap out to protect their own skins. So now, our underdog is left completely solo in the spotlight to face down the most intimidating bosses in the city. Section 4. The Ultimate Showdown. The Pharisees pull the man back in for round 2, and the dialogue fires off just like a fast-paced action sequence. The leaders try to aggressively flex their authority, telling him, God should get the glory for this because we know this man Jesus is a sinner. They're pushing him hard, demanding the man fall in line with their shadowy agenda and just crack under the intense pressure. But our guy doesn't break. He dodges their trap with an incredible bulletproof statement. He doesn't even bother arguing complex theology with them. He just hits them with the ultimate, undeniable truth of his own experience. I don't know whether he's a sinner, but I know this. I was blind, and now I can see. Seriously, you just cannot argue with results like that. Now the Pharisees are totally sweating. Frustrated that their intimidation tactics aren't working at all, they start repeating themselves. But what did he do? How did he heal you? They are desperately looking for any little hole in his story, any tiny technicality they can use to tear him down. And this is where our underdog delivers the most legendary, sassy comeback. He looks at them and goes, "I told you once. Didn't you listen? Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" Oh man, he absolutely shatters the Pharisees' fragile egos with that line. It is a massive mic drop moment from a guy who used to just be ignored on the side of the street. Well, you can probably guess how the powerful elite react to being mocked. They completely explode in anger. Unable to defeat his logic or his simple truth, the villains resort to brute force. They call him a total sinner, and they physically throw him out of the synagogue, brutally exiling him from his community. Section 5, the final plot twist.
So he stood his ground, and he lost his community because of it. But the story does not end with him defeated and alone in the dirt. Jesus actually hears about what happened and tracks the man down, stepping right back into the frame. He reveals his true identity as the Son of Man, and the guy who finally gets to see his healer face to face with his own two eyes instantly believes and worships him.
Which brings us to the absolute ultimate irony of this entire explainer. The beggar had damaged eyes his whole life, but the second he leveled up and got a chance, he clearly recognized the truth. Meanwhile, the Pharisees, these highly educated leaders with perfect physical vision, they were entirely blind to what was happening right in front of them. It just goes to show having working eyes doesn't mean you can actually see the truth. Jesus then drops this final, heavy truth bomb right in front of some Pharisees who are standing nearby. He says he came to give sight to the blind, but also to show those who arrogantly think they see everything that they are actually completely in the dark. He completely exposes their stubbornness and their spiritual blindness for everyone to see. So it all comes down to this. The beggar gained his sight, but he lost his standing in the community because he refused to lie about what he experienced. When the pressure is on and all the adults or leaders in the room are demanding you back down and conform to their narrative, will you have the courage to trust what you see? Are you willing to open your eyes to the truth, no matter what it costs? Let that sink in.